I was kind of tricked, to be honest. My father got into real estate after 22 years in the military. When I was in high school, I used to answer phones for his company on weekends. And then when I was done my schooling in Ottawa, my father and his business partner wanted to open their own company. So I was going to come back and run the office for a year, and then I was going to go back to Ottawa. So my father and his business partner encouraged me to take my courses, and I took my courses reluctantly at first, and then here we are about 15 years later.
My father-in-law approached me and asked me if I wanted to come and work with the team. And I'd gone to teachers college. I had a fine arts degree and a graphic design degree, and it was tough to really find a arts job in North Bay at the time, or a teaching job at the time. So my father-in-law said, well, do you want to come and work for us and get your real estate license? And I said, sure. So that's how I got into it. I always joke that I could have worked for my father or worked with my husband, and I thought there'd be more perks working with my husband.
I was born and raised in North Bay, so I went to California for about 18 years and just recently came back to my roots. I love the city, wanted to raise my kids here. I've always had an interest in real estate. I've been in sales for the last 14 years and just needed the right opportunity to be able to get into it. It's something that was really of interest, of being able to assist people in the journey of owning a home.
I really wasn't looking for real estate in my life at the time. It was an opportunity that was kind of presented when we were kind of coming through the economic downturn in the mining industry, which left me unemployed. It wasn't until, going through interviews and trying to get jobs and gainfully employed, I found a place where I was helping a friend build a house. My partner Matt approached me and said, would you be willing to do your courses? And I think at that time in my life, I had dealt with the corporate side of working, and I had the life experience at that point where I wanted to take that challenge. I knew I had enough experience to start. I had a general understanding of how to build a house, what goes into a house, and through my previous work experience, I had those components kind of settled. So it was one of those opportunities that I think I needed to kind of have that coming of age moment, and I think that's where I ended up.
I think the first step is to establish what their needs and wants are, what their requirements in a house, and then what their financial capabilities are. And the first thing I need to do, especially with a buyer, is I need to establish whether or not that's realistic. Now for a seller, it's to establish what their financial goals are and to troubleshoot the property to see what challenges are going to be selling the house and where are those sellers going to next. My process in particular, I deal with probably most of the sellers. Phil is our buyer's agent. He deals with primarily the buyers. Natasha's role in the team is basically to make our clients' houses sparkle online. She does all of the preparation, all of the staging, all of the 3D tours, all of the video. So the process first that I take if I'm dealing with a seller is I have to establish what the value of the house is. I have to establish what their financial capability is and where they're going. Once that's done and we've agreed on what the market value of the house is, then we come up with our marketing strategy and we implement that strategy. When we're dealing with a buyer, Phil will have a meeting with them at the office and run through what our process is and how we deal with buyers. And we will get them pre-approved. If they're not already pre-approved, we'll have them give us a needs and wants list to establish what their criteria is and to make sure it's realistic. And then we're able to take them out and show them some houses just to show them how we work and to make sure that we're all going to be a good fit. So we're very systems oriented. I believe if you have a proven system that works, it minimizes anxiety because clients know what to expect, okay, and you minimize any mistakes happening.
My favorite part about being a real estate agent is really the people. It's meeting new people, it's helping them in this journey and being a part of the biggest decision of their life. So my first step when working with a client is to figure out their needs and wants, to make sure we're going to look at things that match what they're looking for and really dive into what's going to fit for them. Challenges that we run into is a lot of people have different expectations of what they're looking for. So when we really dive into it and go through it, sometimes a lot of the needs and wants do change as we start seeing homes, and we just have to be able to change what we're looking at.
I always viewed being in real estate, especially now with cell phones, email, text, you're always working, and when you have a young family, that can be challenging. And as a team, you can rely on one another. And the difficult thing about real estate is you can't be good at everything. So the team members I have, their strengths are in areas that I may not be as strong, and vice versa. And I think when you're building a team, the biggest thing is to understand what personalities you are and what personalities you need. But when you have those different types of personalities, you can attract various clientele. But as a team, you're able to function at a high pace and still have a life and still be able to take some time off every once in a while.
There's always going to be somebody to help them. There's always one of us available no matter what. One of us takes vacation, we have somebody else to assist and step in. The added benefit of that too is we have a lot of different resources we can pull from because there's 4 of us. So we all have our own different resources. We can pull that together and make sure we have somebody for everybody. I love working with a team. We have somebody for everybody, and it's a lot of information and a lot of expertise for me to go back to really assist in making sure we have full assistance for every client.
I don't know what it's like to work solo because I came into working with a team of 4. So I was the 5th member of the team when we first started. And it was always so interesting to me when people chose to work on their own, because in real estate, you sometimes really do have to hold your cards close to your chest, and not having anyone to go to or talk to, or have someone there to help you and guide you, especially as a new agent, I would think would be very challenging. So I was always very thankful that I got welcomed onto a fantastic team who had diverse skills and talents and strengths, and I was able to learn from all of them.
With working with a team, especially this team, I mean, it's been great because I've learned so much through the experiences, but I've also broadened some of my experience as well, working with Natasha in the marketing end of it, doing the Matterport and things of that nature has really given me, just a different perspective. And then having Matt with the wisdom of having his experience in the market's been great. So I don't know how I would do it without teammates, and supporting us is kind of it's a full-time job. I want to be kind of the Swiss Army knife of the realtor, where I can lend an eye in any aspect of that transaction. So I think that's kind of where I like to land on that, where my process is just more observing and pointing things out, and then just actioning from there. Once the problem's been established, I think it's a matter of gathering all the pertinent information and presenting it to the client and helping them work through that issue. Because again, we're just there to give advice, and at the end of the day, they're there to make their decisions in their best interest. So all we're really there to do is just support through that time. But biggest thing is doing the due diligence and making sure that your client's best served.
It's really just listening to the client, really absorbing what they need and what they want, and being able to transition that into finding the right place for them, the right location, and really showing them the options that would fit, whether they thought they would or not.
I was born here, my family's here, we have roots here. My family has a small business here. I went away for school to Georgian College, and I decided to come back home to go to university and stayed here. Matt was in Ottawa at the time. When we started dating, we had known each other since grade 7 and 8. So at one point, one of us was going to have to make a choice of where we were going to kind of settle, and Matt decided to come home, so we stayed in North Bay.
I've always liked the easier, slower pace of life that we have here in North Bay versus the hustle and bustle of the big city. There's lots of lakes here, lots outdoors, things to do. So that's something that for myself and my family, you know, raising kids and having a young family, it's a great place to live and it's a great place to raise your family.
You kind of get an appreciation for everything that's here. One of those towns where you can do a lot, but it's nice that you can be able to explore and find new things too in this city. I've always loved the outdoors, so I mean, for someone looking for the bush, you can't beat it.
For me, I have a big family, so I would need a big house. Something on the outskirts of North Bay, just to be able to enjoy nature, have some land, have some toys, some room for the kids to play, room for the pets to play.
My ideal home?
Whatever home my wife wants.
Well, if I could tell you a story about the home that we're in now, Matt and I were living in a basement apartment at my brother and sister-in-law's house. And my father-in-law and mother-in-law very much wanted us to have our own place.
So her ideal home at the time was she wanted a 1,500 square foot bungalow on 10 acres, full finished basement, a 2-car garage, an ensuite bath. So I looked at her and I said, that's not what you start out with. I says, you have the champagne appetite but Pepsi budget, right? That's not what you start out with. So she said,
I refuse to live in Ferris, I refuse to live in a semi, and I don't want to deal with tenants.
So I bought a semi in Ferris with a legal basement apartment.
It was our first home, and it helped through our maternity. It helped, the income helped while I was on my maternity leaves. It's a big bungalow. It's lovely. It backs onto green space, which is great, and we have the most fantastic neighbors, which is something I don't think money can buy if you have great neighbors. So I always laugh sometimes when people say, this is what I want, and then they end up buying something completely different than what they thought they wanted. So that was definitely me, so I can speak to that. I've seen so many houses in the past 8 years that I can probably count on one hand the ones that I would say, you know, this is the one. So I can definitely understand when people are shopping for a house and they haven't found the one yet. Sometimes it takes a while. We work with buyers and sellers. We work with investors. We work with first-time home buyers. We work with people who are looking for commercial space or selling commercial space, waterfront properties, condos. So in North Bay, again, you really do have to be open to a variety of clientele and possibilities. So we try and make ourselves available for all of those. We always like to say that each client is different, and each client has different motivations for both buying and selling, and we have to be there to help them through those. Whether it's a first-time home buyer, someone who's downsizing because they're empty nesters, whether there's been a passing in the family and we're helping a family sell a family home, or a divorce, whatever the challenge for selling is, we're there to come up with solutions and help them through it.
The biggest thing for our team is that we're honest and we work hard, and the integrity that my team has, as far as I'm concerned, is second to none. And,
So a big part of why I joined the Laframboise team is their moral compass definitely matched what I was looking for. We're very client-centric. For us, it's really finding the right place for the right person and doing the right thing, and just taking care of the client. Everything else comes second.
once again, I'm grateful that I'm fortunate that we're able to do what we do in the city that we do it. And you know, when you love what you do, it's not work. So I would probably say that's our case, and Natasha and Phil would say the same thing. They may say I'm a little pushier, but we'll just edit that out.